With that, I mute my microphone. Welcome Joben and Palak in conversation with Joben on the stance of a leader.
Thank you, Sangeeta, for this message. Can you just give me a thumbs up if everybody is able to hear me? Amazing. Welcome to the shared event of Decathlon Exchange in conversation with Joben on a stance of a leader. This is the first time we are trying to do something on a digital platform. May the force be with us in terms of connectivity. There might be chances of technical glitches, which really are not in our controls, or maybe a power cut, but please do allow us to come back. Like Sangeeta said already, this is going to be a 1 hour of exchange in which almost 35 to 40 minutes, we are going to have a conversation with Joben. I think we are rather prepared in terms of the questions. Thanks to all your questions on his stance of a leader, his experience as a leader, the good, bad, ugly, what works, what doesn't work, and all of this part. That's what we are going to even talk about. After which, for 20 minutes, we are going to have a Q&A session. As we have already pre-collected the questions in the interest of the time, we are just going to have a few questions on, of course, based off reputation and popularity. So we are going to throw those questions to Joben. So all the best, or even, for all these questions, all the best to Joben. So that means me and Joben are going to discuss more about it on the camera. And I think you already heard that our audience will be muted all the time to really limit the sound distractions. Of course, we will try to keep it as natural as possible because that's the aim of this activity. I hope, right, Joben? Over to you for your introduction, Joben. You just want to say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. Morning. I see 71 participants. Hope everybody is safe. Most important. I've got a lot of messages saying best of luck, all the best, no pressure. It's cool, no problem. I mean, I think we're discussing something that is very close to my heart, and it'll be pretty interesting to share my thoughts and my views on Stance for Leader. Okay, Palak, over to you.
Thank you, Joben, and welcome to the shared event, Joben. Thanks to you too also. To start with, in terms of the questions, I really have something. The first question I think we can really start with is, what does leader mean to you? For you, who is a leader? If you could just share with us in terms of what you think about this.
Okay, so just to set the context right, also to give a quick brief, this June 1st, 2020, I finished 11 years in the company. I've been purely in retail. Okay. I've been purely in retail, the classic sales manager, department manager. I mean, that is how we were called those days, department manager. So I was in Sarjapur, then moved to open the Thane store, and then came back to Banargata, and then moved to Kerala, and then now I lead the All for Sport promise for Decathlon India. So that's my entire journey in a nutshell. Now the question about what does a leader mean to me?
Yes.
Right?
For you, who's a leader? Yeah.
So there are two things that pop out in my mind. And number one, it's what a colleague of mine told me as a feedback was that me personally, when somebody is down and they are in trouble in their performances, etc., I don't kick them further down, saying, I don't care, you need to do this. I don't care whatever the conditions are. I support them and I mentor them. And when they are really flying high and things are doing very well, I'll just take the store analogy. You're doing your objectives and everything's fine. Everybody's clapping, patting you on the shoulder. That's when I cut the wings to ground you, to say that, we can do much more, right? So for me, a leader has to be that, demanding, caring, based on circumstances. And also a leader has to be somebody who has to have his feet on the ground and head in the clouds. So visionary, but with a real-time mindset. That's the way I see what I see in a leader.
Yeah, sure, sure. Great. When you say this, I think immediately it makes me think about all the qualities of a leader. But really, I'm curious to ask you, you have worked with many leaders, I'm sure. What has really impressed you most about a leader? And even if really it has been an impressive thing, can we know why? Like why it has been, that moment for you?
So I've worked with 7 leaders in these 12 years. Pretty interesting journey, very interesting. So 2 people who stand out for me were leaders who during time of crisis, and that's where I see them, true leaders emerge during crisis. So small hack to everybody, the Corona is a good crisis for you to actually step up to be leaders, because when things are good, then everybody says anything, things will work. But when things are really, tough, that's when the strongest people come out, right?
Sure.
So I saw that in Michelle, who was our country leader and the store leader when I started my career. We had the same issues that any retailer faces with stock and beginning. We were selling B2B, so we weren't hitting turnover. So the way he used his charisma to inspire people. And the second today with Steve, it's a great example, the way he has, and I'm part of all the crisis meetings, and how he says team members first, everything else last. It's not looking at, can we reduce quickly this and that in terms of team, but how can we help our teams push forward even in these difficult times. So these are 2 leaders that really stand out for me. Caveat, Steve is also my leader. So, IDMs and EA, I'll get 1 extra point. Steve, if you're listening. But yeah, these are 2 leaders I look to. Yeah.
Okay. You already make me think. Right now, you just said that teammates comes first, but I'm very sure, just like me, many teammates here who are live would be wondering, okay, you being a leader, but what about you being a teammate? That another perspective. So yeah, you say teammates first, and that's how you believe in. But let's just see in this journey of yours, what has been your experience like a teammate? Also, it makes me think, what have you taken from different leaders? Because you just said, your 2 leaders' name. What have you taken from your different leaders that you came across in your journey in Decathlon? Yeah, that's what, if you can let us know.
Very good question. I think very pertinent to the team members who are here. I will hazard a guess. Out of the 70 participants, about 95 of them come from the stores. So
sure.
I think it's very relevant. So I was recruited by a lady. Her name was Abir, 100 years back in Tommy's, right? So the way I see it, I personally do not put anybody on a pedestal saying, this is how this person is and I respect and that's what I'll do it. I take the positives of anybody. It could be my leader, it could be my team member, or somebody who I am leading. So I've taken good points from Abir. Dhiren was my leader at one point in time. So I've taken the way he puts teams in ease. I've taken points from him. I've taken from Jeremy the way you do finance, you do planning and organization. I've taken from Pierre, most of you know him, the ability to just go and do it, and the trust that he has given to me. Also with Steve, where we have this relationship where he's given me responsibility. So that has happened. I'll be saying that I have a good real-time example. So in Sarjapur, I have had 4 leaders in a span of 3 years. Yeah. I'm sure most of you have had it, where you're with one leader and he tells you this is how, she tells you this is how you should do it, and then he or she leaves the project and the next one comes in. I'm sure most of you have that. And the next one comes in and says, you know what, this is what you've got to do now. Okay?
Crazy. But
how do you?
Yeah, how do you come up with yourself at that time when the leaders are, at the same time? So yeah, it would be interesting.
Could somebody show me, if you could just show me a thumbs up to say, have you encountered that? Like, you had a leader and then that person moved and the next dude comes in or dude comes in, and how do you manage that? People have faced it.
Oh, I see Sangeeta raising it.
Sangeeta, what? Yeah, but it's pretty common. It's not something new. There's nothing new under the sun. Just let me share that what you are going through, everybody's gone through. Uh, and I've gone through that. And what stood out for me was those days, 2009, 10, 11, 12. So these are the years when I had these leaders. What was my purpose at that time? My purpose at that time was to become a store leader. Come rain, hail, sunshine, whatever, I wanted to be a store leader. That was my purpose. So think about it. Then you don't care who's coming and who's going.
Yeah.
As long as you're sticking to your purpose and you want to do that, I mean, positive, negative, that's everybody's point of view. But at that time, I wanted to be a store leader. So I stuck to it. I had an interesting challenges came in, but I said, no, that's what I want to do. And I'll keep working towards it.
Yeah, sure.
That's how I did it.
And when you say the purpose, what exactly it means, it's very clear. Yes, you wanted to become a store leader. If you can just help us understand a little bit more about, is there
Palak, I think you'll have to repeat it. Sorry, there was a lag.
Are you just a second?
Yeah, sure.
If you can just give me thumbs up. Yeah, it's a bit lagging.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that could you elaborate in terms of what is this purpose that you're talking about?
Okay. I'm of the opinion that you can't just go through life the way you do it. Everybody needs to have a purpose. I've done that with my team members. I've typically shocked them by asking, what is it that you personally want to do, right? What's your purpose? What are you doing this for? And yeah, I get it, Decathlon, and you want to make sport accessible to all, but that's not only there. There must be something else behind it. So we go deep into that. So I would suggest everybody to work and think about what is your purpose, what do you want to really do personally also. So apply the same thing professionally. So I'll give you an example today at All for Sport. The purpose that I really personally am convinced is to inspire 1.5 billion Indians to play sport. I want to do it. I mean, 1.5, India is 1.3 billion today. We'll reach 1.5 in 10 years. So it's a long-term, you could say it's a vision, but it's also a purpose of mine. And I've structured my team around it, right? So whatever happens, the athletes have the purpose. That's the most important, because then a lot of leaders can come and go, but you know what you want to do, and nobody can break that.
Much clear. Which really makes me think that great, I have the purpose, but then wait, who's responsible to create this purpose? Because you are a leader, then you have a team. So if you can just throw some limelight in terms of who is actually responsible to create this purpose.
Good point. The way I did it was you as a leader need to have direction, number one, right? You need to know where you want to go at a broader level, right? So that has to be first defined. The best way a purpose can be achieved is if it's co-created with your team members together. Now, that is the ideal way. The way I have worked is typically when I've taken handover of something or I've moved into a project, things weren't clearer. So I had to step in and say, okay, you know what, let me write this purpose down, and then rally the troops along with me. And after some time we stop, we take a break and we relook at this purpose and say, is it actually answering what we want? And are the teams up to it? So ideal way is to have a sense of direction and then co-create it with your team members, because that's the best way to do it. And everybody's on board.
Sure. Okay. In a way, you are telling that, yes, leader is responsible, but also to serve the purpose of the project, it's also okay sometimes to really co-create the project. And I think this is only... You should, right? Okay. And what you also meant that this is the co-creation of the project really make sense when you have the sense of direction. When you have the sense of direction, you know already that what you want to do and how you want to do. I think it's a very clear path that I'm getting to know in a way that how to create a purpose, and then you really start writing your story out of the purpose and really based on the teams that you have. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I'm very clear on this, to have the purpose, to have your story around the purpose. And based on this, my next question is about the teammates. What I really want to ask you, because you said once the story is written based on the purpose, you already have a team, or maybe you have acquired a team, or you have a team which is, let's say, working towards the purpose. So what are your next steps as a leader? Because what should you do in order to lead this team or lead a project along with this particular team? If you could just share that.
Okay. So the way I do it is when I created the purpose in three different responsibilities of mine, because I wasn't able to co-create it at that time. What I did is I created a script. You know, what do I mean by script? Is like a movie script. You know, you write it down that this is how I envision everything, and then you look at who are the best actors or actresses who can act these roles. I'll give you an example. So you have a movie script, and then you look at and say, okay, maybe Shah Rukh Khan best answers this, or maybe I don't know, any of the Bollywood actors can answer this. Then you go and search for them, you audition them, and then get them. Just the same way I would do it. I would write my script down, then I get into recruitment, and when I'm recruiting, I keep the script with me all the time to see. Right? That's number one. So once they're on board, what do you do? And this is where I'm a big fan of it, and I'll highly recommend it to everybody. And you've heard it often. It's called the IDM, the individual decision meeting, and everybody was like rolling your eyes, but it's important.
Sorry to cut you off, but this topic, always comes, like always.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And I'm not going to sit here to tell you, from the day I started, we were doing IDMs every month. I've done 2 IDMs in the beginning with my team members. So if you know Sijo, if you know Saf, you can ask them, they will tell you, but I was evolving as a leader. Sure. This is very important to understand. There is no magic pill that you pop in and say, now I'm a leader. It just doesn't work like that. You can't read 4 books and that'll teach you how to be a leader. You need experience. Sure. You need to fail. Because what I haven't told many people, and many do not know about me, is the first 6 years of my career in Decathlon, and I've been only 11 years, so it's nothing. There are people with more years of experience. But the first 6 years of my 11 years, I was not a store leader. So I was a sales manager, department manager, ops manager, CRM manager across different stores, right? I became a store leader, and I was a store leader for 10 months. That's it.
That's it.
I wasn't a store leader for 3 years and 4 years, but that 6 years of those learnings that I did, of those 2 IDMs in a year, of those stupid forecastings or the crappy layouts that I made, all those taught me, okay, get ready, when the time comes. And so you all must have heard of that proverb that says, success is when opportunity meets preparedness. When you're prepared and the opportunity comes, that's when you're successful. I'm not yet successful in any standards, but I was getting prepared. I didn't know. So take time. This is what I would highly counsel. Don't look at, I need to be a store leader before the sun sets, or I need to be this before I'm 31, or this is not going to help, because your purpose should be broader. If you remember what I said when I was 10 years back, I wanted to be a store leader. It's too small a purpose, right? But it taught me a lot, and that's where I understood the quality and power of IDMs. Individual decision making. I'm sure some of you would say that, if I had only 2 IDMs this year, I believe it's your responsibility to go actually catch your leader by the collar and say, listen, I need my IDM. I need my IDM. I need it now. Right. Sure. And this is what I will highly counsel. Even if your leader is not doing it, you should do it. Get him to sit with you or her to sit with you and say, I want to do it, and start the ball rolling. So IDM, I'm a big fan of IDMs. I'm a bit unorthodox in the way I do it. My IDMs are, sorry.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that you brought this IDM point, and because I also know you since almost 8 years now, thanks to Lord. And plus now, because I'm in Kerala as well, I have heard how you have evolved, and I have seen. And I have heard many stories about your IDM's way, like ways, different ways. So if you can, really share with us, how do you do this IDMs? I know some examples. You have a way to do an IDM 1 day, 2 days. If you can just share about this experience.
Yeah, sure. So again, evolution, right? I did the classic IDMs, makes a big difference. But then I tweaked, I put in my masalas in it to see how I could add value, right?
Sure.
And again, a very important theme comes up. It's called be authentic, be who you are, right? I am who I am. So most of you know me.
Yeah.
Humor plays a big role in my life, a big role. And I need to see people smiling. I cannot take people who look like, they can make milk turn into curds, that face. It's difficult for me. So I'm very authentic and I share that. I'm also very interested to know more about the person. Who are you? Right. So my first IDM typically starts with introduce yourself. Who are you? And so they will say, okay, I spent 3.2 years in the company and I did that. Then I said, no, that's not what I want. I want to know who are you as a person, right? And then we go deep into family.
Oh.
We go deep into where they were born, how they came in to where they are today, etc. And it's pretty interesting as a topic. We do not talk anything about layouts and we don't talk about piloting, etc. So, for example, in Kerala, what I used to do is I would do a 2-day IDM. That's a 2-day IDM. So the first day would be more personal. So I will take an example of Arjun Kedas, who's there. So I would sit down with Arjun and because I can see Arjun, right? I can see Arjun, Daniel, and Atul Mohan.
And I hope Arjun agrees. Let us know if it's true or not.
You better, come on, Arjun, come on. Don't do this to me. So in fact, we didn't IDM. He was ops leader at Korean store. So when I was doing the IDM with his leader, the first day would be more personal. So we talk a lot about finances because I've never understood how can a store leader lead a 40 crore project.
Yeah.
And he's not able to lead his own P&L. Just doesn't connect. Okay. So it's my experience. Okay. I was in that boat a couple of years back where I couldn't manage my personal P&L and I'm going to, hey, you know what, Pierre, don't worry. I'm going to take Banargata and I'm going to do 25 crore. At that time, that was a big number, 25 crores a year. So we spent a lot of time in the first day just to understand everything. Okay, family, personally speaking, are you able to financially get through? Yeah, Then we do sports. Then we go catch a movie or something like that the entire first day. The second day is when I get into the layout. But by the time, it's very clear what the person wants to do. We talk a lot about the purpose, what they want to do in 5 years from now, personally, not professionally, because professionally you can get it in the EA, but personally, it's never written anywhere. So it's a good challenge. And we develop that personal bonding a lot. So a lot of convictions are built. That's why I do it.
Sure.
But I evolve. So in All for Sport, I cannot do 2 days. So we make it very short. But in the beginning, it was that I wanted to understand who are you. So, and less about what will you do.
Yeah.
We're going to spend time together. So.
Sure. Really, Joben, thanks. Because, I was reading the questions that we really pre-collected from the audience. And a lot of people had this question that how do you evolve? So thanks really for sharing that. Coming back to, the IDM that you just said, I have one more question because you talked about having a personal one-to-one relationship with individuals and, especially the way you are doing the IDM. I'm not sure if you have ever come across this experience, but I really would like to know, have you come across where the person in your team is not able to perform? And of course, you're a leader at that time. A person is not rising up to the challenge. A person is not able to do what he decided earlier, basically. So as a leader, what do you do? Because you just said, you have a relationship like one-to-one individuals. And here we are talking about a situation where actually, the person is not able to create any added value. So in such scenarios, as a leader, what do you do?
Good question. But we should expect this. This will happen. We are humans. And at the end of the day, there will be times when you won't be able to perform or you said something and you couldn't do it, etc. The way I saw it, because this personal bonding starts, many times it becomes that I'm a leader. I'm a sport leader. I don't want to disappoint Joben in a way because we've developed that connection, right?
Already, yes.
That has helped, right? But an interesting takeaway was that be kind with the person, be demanding with the facts.
Be kind with the person, but demanding with the facts.
Be demanding with the facts. What the heck? What do you mean by this?
Yeah.
Simple. I have a tagline I used to share with all my leaders, and Arjun and the rest can tell me no chance that you never said that, but I do say that. It's that you can come up to me and say that, listen, I don't know how to calculate WAP margin. You can come to me and tell me that, hey, listen, I don't know how depreciation is done. Sure. I do not know how P&L is calculated. It's okay. I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to show you how it is done. I will show you once. I will show you twice. Thrice, it's going to be difficult because by the time you need to learn. But if I come and I find that you're not smiling at people, you're not respectful to your team members, you do not satisfy your customers, right? Such basic things, that's when I go mad, literally, quote unquote, I go mad, because these are the basics, right? So that's where I'm very demanding with those facts, Come on, you can't look that. I've been very direct there. I'm sure there are stories floating, but that's the way I do it, right? Because these are the basics, and this is where you have to be demanding on the facts and be kind as a person, because you don't wake up every morning and calculate VAP, do you? You don't do that. You don't get up and say, okay, I have to forecast my stock. You don't do it personally, but personally, you also interact with people, which is normal, right? So that's the way I see it. And I'm pretty demanding there, like coming in time, being punctual and stuff. So.
Thank you, Joben, for this magic potion or a recipe. Be kind with the person, but demanding with the facts. I want to take this. With this, it reminds me that you spoke about the individuals, one-to-one relationships, and having these regular IDMs. Of course, all this we are talking about individuals. But how do you manage relationships with a diverse team? We really need to talk this as well, and not only talk about individuals, because as a leader, for sure, you're going to work with different personalities. Whether you are building a new team or you have already acquired a team, I'm sure you will have different personalities who will be working along with you as at a collective level. So here, as a leader, what do you do? In terms of how do you manage such relationships with
Very good question.
With the diverse team?
Very good question. Good question, and I'm living it right now with All for Sport, where I have a bunch of amazing team members. Coming from diverse backgrounds. I've been in the stores for the past 11 years, so I know it. Suddenly I'm taking responsibility such as this. And I did spend a lot of time thinking, how do I do this? How do I ensure everybody is in the same boat and we are all rowing forward and not backwards? And then I will beat the old drum again by saying purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose. What is your purpose? So when my team comes and tells me that's not going to work, this is not going to work, I'm like, okay, will that help inspire 1.5 billion Indians to play sport? Does it? Yes, let's go, let's do it. It doesn't. It's okay. You can say whatever you want, but it doesn't make sense. So I'll take the analogy of, say, the English Premier League or the European League. You have Real Madrid, by the way, has stars in it, right? I don't follow Real Madrid anymore, but way back in the day, you had Zidane and you had all the rock stars. I was like, wow, how does he get all these guys to play together? And the simple thing is, win that goddamn league. That's all. Then everybody is in it. Now, whoever is not in the program leaves. Right? It's the same thing. I say, that's what we got to do. We'll have to inspire billions. So I'll take an idea from the stores. One of the biggest learnings I've had, I've always had learnings in all my responsibilities, but Banargata was a great learning that humbled me as a leader, where you need the power of teams to really push. And we created a project called the Dream Team, where we had to come out of all the normal things that we run through. And the purpose was very simple. We wanted to make 95% of our customers very happy. That's what. And now it's normal, but at that time it used to be 71%, 71 to 95 was a big jump, and I had to rally the team around it. So I just copied that. We did it in the Kerala floods also, the same thing, purpose. The teams do it, what I'm saying?
Sure. And when you say this purpose, it's really that you are trying to serve the users as well. I'm sure it's about the teammates, it's about our sports users.
Yes.
Not to forget our customers, correct? If you can.
Very good point, Palak. I just wanted to jump in that script that I was talking about. Remember the movie script that you're writing? Very important is to take some things from Decathlon that has worked for a long time. It's called the 4 axis. I do not know if many of you know the 4 axis. So whenever you write your mission, You need to write it down. How does this impact my shareholders? How does it impact my users? How does it impact my team members? How does it in fact impact my society?
Sure.
Now, society can be divided into your neighborhood, your the sustainability that you want to do, etc., etc. So this is super important, and I've always refused to see a mission which does not answer these four axes. It's the old school method, which I believe it works because that's how you define your script. Now, if you ask, how do you write the story? Take this as a thing. Take the four axes. If you are not aware of it, do ask your leader. I'm sure they will know about it, and build a story around it. It has to help all these people, the team members, the shareholders, because you have to add value, right? We are not a charity in the end of the day. We are a business. How can we add value back and gain value? So that's both ways it has to win. So that's the script. Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
It's thank you for that, because now it really reminds that to even build this environment with your team, one of the things I think you need is the trust. Joben, really, how do you build this with your team? I think it's one of the important part in Decathlon. As a leader, then you have a team, diverse team, collective level, individual levels, and then we are talking about this axis where you have all this. But let also touch to the smallest point, how to really build this trust with your team towards this purpose. So,
good point. Trust, I believe, starts with transparency. Be transparent. It's the only thing. Whatever emails I get, I forward straight to my team members. Like, listen, this is what's happening. Even with this crisis that's happening, I do have a call every week to tell them what's happening financially speaking, what's happening at the stock level, to gain that, relax, it's okay, right? That's one. So transparency is key. What I did is, when I took the handover of All for Sport, every year I take these feedbacks from few of my team members, whole team members, of how have I evolved, and they give me these in a Google sheet, right? The 360-degree feedback. Some of you get assaulted every December by, right?
It's only in December,
Yeah, that's in December. So I assaulted them twice, so I got that. And I took a consolidation of that and I shared it with my team members. I said, hey, here you go. These are my old team members who have told me what I'm good at and what I suck at, right? This is who I am, right? And I'm evolving.
You mean to say sorry, that means what you're saying, you actually showed your positive and negatives to your entire team.
Yeah. Also my mistakes. What did I do wrong? There's an email. I always share it in all my trainings because I was a trainer for Decathlon Exchange, Decathlon, Develop My Team Member, my favorite training, which is changed to Decathlon Vector of Purpose. I show them always an email that was sent to me by Michelle, May 5th, 2014, where he kills me for the store, the way it was put up, and he wants to shut down the store in 2 weeks. He will close the store, etc., etc. I showed it to them, and I said, it was a catalyst for me to change a lot of approaches that I have. So I highly, Decathlon has taught me that in a way, because I heard a story way back in the late 90s where Michel Leclerc was sharing something on sharing the mission to everybody. And somebody asked, why are you showing all the numbers that they will go and show it to the competitors? And he said, I prefer that, 100% of my team members know my figures and where we're going than 4-5 competitors knowing it. I found it super interesting, and I've just emulated it. I've copied it, and I said, hey, listen, this is what it is. This is what I want to do. And then it's transparent, right? You know that I'm not here to step over you and claim your credits. I'm not going to do that. I'll let you take the lead, and I'll be at the back.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Joben. I have one more question, and I think I'm going to throw, because it's also for me, I want to know. And in a way, you have been inspiring a lot of people. I don't know about them, but I have been inspired by you somewhere for sure. But I really want to know, how do you evolve? Like, where do you get this from? And, if you really don't mind sharing with us, it would be really great, because you have really evolved and we have seen you. Personally as well as professionally. So it was really great if you can let us know, how do you as a leader evolve?
I personally am a very high performance
we lost Joben. Joben, yes, 1 minute.
Can you hear me?
It's better now. Yes, you're back.
Everybody can hear me? Thumbs up?
Yes,
okay,
we can.
So I don't know where I stopped, but just to share that I have reinvented myself. Yes, many of you have seen me. So just to give you a perspective, I was 92 kgs or something. I dropped to 76, 77. I decided that to do it, that's why many of my old team were like, huh? What? Who are you? Is another person, etc. So I decided that one fine day, I said, let me do that. I created a vision for myself personally. As a family, we created something, and I took up running, which is not one of my favorite sports, but I took up running 2 years back. I was like, damn it, the TCS 10K is, I really wanted to hit 56 minutes. I did 58 last time, and the year before 58. Kevin, you're there. You were my running buddy, so I wanted to hit 56 December. TCS is so postponed, so I can train some more.
The only sport I think we all knew about you was rugby, but the way you have evolved, it's crazy.
So I've learned swimming. I learned rugby here, running. It's my humble request to everybody. Don't say that you don't have time to do it. Please don't. I've been 11 years in this company, and I promise you, it's not about time. It's not your priority. That's all.
Sure.
I have something to share. I'm sure most of you have boyfriends and girlfriends. If he or she calls out to you, can you come at 5 o'clock? You will all run, drop everything and just run, right? That's called priority, right? So it's priority. I used to run at 11:30 in the night. So if I can do it, I'm sure you can do it. So
yeah,
it's about priority. It's not time. So don't say that I joined Decathlon and now I don't play sport. That's bullcrap. You can, if you want to, you can.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I reinvented myself. Humor, very important. And then personally, I don't care what people think about me. Try it. It works like a charm. I used to, I don't anymore. So that's why, so you saw the picture of mine, right? Long hair like that. So I had this long hair. I just cut it off. I had a stud. I took a tattoo here. So I went crazy. I don't care. So try this. It works because then you become really, you're tuned to what you want to do. Purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. It just makes me think, be yourself, be authentic. Don't copy anybody. Really, it just, gave me a lot of message.
I would suggest that please don't copy me. Be who you are. Like I've seen some of my team members copying me and directly saying the way I say it. And they literally get slapped in the face, I'm like, why did you do it? And they say, no, but you did it. That's who I am. The way I deliver would be totally different from the way you deliver. So find who you are and do it the way you do it. Okay. I do it my way. So.
Great. Thank you, Joben. I hope audience is still there with us. Of course, I'm not looking at you, but I hope you're with us and I hope you have still that energy to really listen to our conversation. Thank you, Joben. Really, before we take a Q&A, I personally want to say a few things that I have learned from this conversation. Let me know if I'm wrong, because I really came to know about the purpose is the boss. Whatever it is in Decathlon, purpose is everything. You have right to make mistakes. Thank you for sharing that. Be yourself, be authentic, fail better. And of course, the importance of every individual to have the mission and IDMs. I think you also said to be documented if yes. It has to be. And you also said about people first. So these are the things that I really took away from this. So
you were.
I'm back. I think so.
You were kind of breakdancing with your voice. So now.
Are you there with me, all of you? Great. So let's dive into the questions. Like I said, we have already pre-collected, and of course, in the interest of the time, we're going to shoot at least 4 to 5 questions to Joben, and they are the most popular ones. Okay. So the first question is, what is that one important criteria to be a store leader? Meaning every Decathlon leader should have it.
Yeah. Wow. Very, very interesting question. It's very subjective. I've seen many store leaders having their own perspectives, and I respect it. I'll give you my point of view
Sure.
as a store leader. You need to think ahead. You really need to think ahead. You shouldn't be thinking small, think big. You shouldn't be thinking, oh, the next store is cannibalizing mine, so how do I win?
Yeah.
That's not the way. I mean, so one of my good friends is Kuldeep, and Kuldeep was in Mysore store, and I was in Banargata. We were close, right, 2014. There were very big instances of stock grabbing happening. I mean, I'm sure it's happening right now. So you ordered 20 more Ekiden 50s and you stock it, etc. Then I called up Kuldeep and said, you know what, let's work together in this, because we are here in the end of the day to satisfy our customers, right? Think longer, think bigger than the immediate bonus, which I believe many people get trapped in, is this bonus every month, right? Whatever it is, I want to touch bonus. It's a very dangerous thing. It's not long-term thinking, if you ask me. So for me, store leader, think ahead, think very long-term. The COVID crisis is a great example, where some store leaders took decisions for the interest of the team members and customers, and they highlighted it back that, listen, we got to do something here. This is what I highly appreciate,
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. The second question is, what was the most irritating or disappointed moment for you in Decathlon, and how do you get over with it?
Ooh. When I was passed over to become a store leader. How many of you had that? You want to be a store leader and somebody else becomes a leader and you didn't become. Anybody has had that experience? You can raise your hands. It's okay.
Just checking.
One? That's it.
Audience.
I mean, come on. I'll repeat the question. So you want to be somewhere, something, the promotion and stuff, and suddenly you're bypassed and somebody else takes that position or whatever it is. Anybody has faced this before?
I see one raising, yes.
Oh, nobody else. Oh, there are a lot of people.
Oh, yeah,
just forget the store leader. Forget the store leader. I mean, anything, anything.
Seth also raising, yes. Oh, there's
what?
Rushabh.
Seth?
Yeah, he raised it. Rushabh as well.
Where is from?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I've faced the same thing.
Okay.
And the question is, how did I get over it, right? I always look at everything half open, the window half open, the glass half full. So I look back and to say, okay, what do I have to improve on? Now, when I sit here and look back, which is very easy to do, I realize, okay, there were things I had to improve on, but at that time, it was really irritating. I was a bit down, etc. But then I sat down and I wrote down, okay, what are the things I need to work on? Where are the problems I faced, right? It wasn't easy. I can sit here and say, oh, it was so easy. I just did it. It isn't easy. That's why don't hurry up. Relax. Take your time. Go with the flow, learn, make mistakes, and then, because guys and girls, there will come a day when you will take that responsibility. And I used to tell something to my leaders: take care, your dreams can come true. Take care, your dreams can come true, because when you become a responsible leader, then a lot of pressure is on you. Sure. And if you haven't done mistakes to learn this, how would you know? So I looked at it as that. It was a good gift for me not to become a store leader at the time, so I could spend more time. And then you see, in 10 months, I moved quickly. So yeah, that's what I would do it. That's what I did. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Joben. I have another question. Of course, it's from the audience, and it's quite interesting. Have you taken any unethical decision during your leadership stint so far? If yes, then why?
See you, bye.
Yeah.
Very interesting question. Unethical? No, I've not. So it's Decathlon, the way it does it, it is so open, you can actually go and steal stuff if you want to, right? You can actually go pick up stuff and walk off. I've had so many opportunities to do it, but I never did it. And it never struck my mind, because of who I am as a person. So I've never had that opportunity. Nobody ever suggested. There was one case where a particular leader asked me to do something with the finances, but I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So that put us in a thing. And then I raised it up to his leader after I spoke to him. So I went the classic, the way of approaching it. And many people say, no, with my experience, when I check with others that did you speak to the leader face to face about this problem, 90% of the time I hear, no, they didn't. They kept it in their head, and then they go and talk to their friends, or they go talk to the leader's leader without approaching him face to face and saying, that's what happened. I didn't like this, and you made me do it. So this is what I did once, but I did not do the behavior, the ethical issue, unethical issue, but I stopped by saying I can't do it. I spoke to him, then I spoke to his leader to say, but no, I've never done it. I have some standards that I hold myself to, and it is what it is. And I've been very brutal with people who have in my team. There are cases that has happened, and I've removed them quick.
Sure.
Whatever hurts the company in any way, because I started out with the company, right? So you have that. When I started, we were only 30 people.
Yeah.
And if you remove the people who left before me, I'm the first sales manager. The first, so I have that bonding, what they call the startup. We started like that. So it's very, for me, I take it very personal when I hear people stealing, which we all worked hard. We all work hard to ensure we save a lot. So yeah,
sure.
That's the way I'd say it.
I think
I'm ruthless there, huh? So I'm very ruthless there, demanding with the facts.
Okay. Thank you, Joben. We have the fourth question. Most of us know your success stories in the company, starting from your role as a sales manager to AFS project leader. But what has been the biggest let down in your career so far? And how did you overcame as a leader?
See you, bye. Wow, some very tough questions. It's pretty interesting, and I'm sure many of you are facing it. The biggest letdown for me was that the 6 years that I couldn't be a store leader.
Yes. And you were only for 10 months, right? Yes.
Yeah, I was for 10 months, but so it's easy to sit here and say, you know what, I became 6, but 6 years was tough to see many of your team members going ahead, and you question yourself, what's happening, why, So it was very, very difficult. That's why I'm pretty transparent to tell you that there is no pill. You'll have to go through that phase to become. Now, I don't know how you're defining success stories. There's still more for me to go. So I just see it as steps that I'm taking. But yeah, these 6 years it was difficult. Seeing people going ahead and then talking to yourself and motivating. Self-motivation is what I would suggest highly. Nobody can motivate you. Nobody can. You can forget that. My leader is not motivating me. No, that's not his job. It's yours. You motivate yourself. It's the way I see it. Because remember your purpose.
Yes.
That's it. That's the way I did it. So.
Okay. We have some of the audience audience from YouTube as well who are live currently, and one of the question is coming from there. Is there any one thing or one person that Joben look up to when he is in doubt?
Okay, so I'm going to share what I shared with many of my team members. It might come out as egoistical. It might come out as the one person I look to whenever I feel down is myself. In fact, it's myself. I'm pretty proud of who I have become. I will take it's a small clip I saw of Snoop Dogg in the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and it's impressive what he said. You know what he said when he started? He said, "I thank myself. I thank me for being here." You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we forget that and we start looking at others to motivate us, or, I'm feeling down. But sometimes look and see where you were a couple of years back and where you've reached. Yeah. And when I say reach, I don't mean that positions or money. It's just you as a person. I'm pretty proud of where I've reached. So when I'm down, I look back and say, wow, I've done so much. Let's go. Let's do it. It's not easy. It's not easy. But like I said, my team members, my current team members, I look to see what they do. And I take inspiration. I take inspiration from a lot of people. You, Palak, you're in Trishur. You've gone all the way there. And you're pretty happy doing what you're doing there. So, okay, that's an inspiration. Sangeeta, going through all those things and now leading the Decathlon Exchange, that's an inspiration for me.
Yeah.
My good friend Arjun, a couple of years back in Hosur, I was part of his recruitment. Then he goes down south, and then he goes up north. Then he comes down south. So these are inspirations for me. That's how I don't have one person I look to per se, but I look to myself for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it just comes back to your own personal purpose, your life, and be yourself. Yes.
Be yourself. Yeah, be
Yes.
yourself.
We have one more question. It is from Zoom itself. Saurabh is asking, what if someone doesn't want to be a store leader? What would be chances of the success then?
Ooh.
Ooh.
But, sort of, it depends on what success. Can you elaborate there? What is success? I mean, are you talking about a designation? Can I become a country leader? Is that what you're asking about? Or what is it?
He has not elaborated though, but he has said, as a store leader, how do you challenge? Sorry, it
No, that's
says
Ashish,
store.
Saurabh.
Yeah, no, yeah, correct.
In fact, he asked this question when you were talking about Joben, your interest to become a store leader. That
Sure.
was when
Yeah.
he asked this particular question. What if somebody does not want to become a store leader? In that case, how can a person grow?
Sure.
That was his question.
Okay, good question. I'll just put out something right there. I'm not known for giving solutions. I'm always known for giving questions back. That way I'm safe. I would put it. I would put it this way: that what you've got to know, or what you've got to do, is find out what is the company looking towards. Where is the world evolving towards, and please play chess. Don't play checkers. If
Yeah.
you get that drift, chess is strategic. Caveat: I'm not a big fan of chess. It's too long for me, but I like the strategy behind chess because you just don't put a pawn forward just to quickly kill. You do that because you're thinking 30 steps ahead. So at that time, 10 years back, I was thinking too short on the sword. This is I want to be, because at that time we only had a store leader. There was nothing clear. Now we have a plethora of information. You have Sangeeta standing right there.
Yes.
She was not a store leader. So is that a criteria for success? Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. It's what's your purpose? What is your passion? Whenever you're passionate about something, and when that kind of clicks with what the company needs, it goes up.
Yeah.
The way I've seen it. I love retail, huh? So that's the difference you have to understand. I'm passionate about merchandising. That not many know, but I'm very passionate. You can put me in a store, and I see, I touch, I try, I buy. So I like this. This is my passion. Well, Sangeeta's passion is primarily towards mentoring and training people and getting the best out of everybody in her way. So she's doing that, and it works with the company.
Yeah.
So that's how you should do it. Then saying, I want to be a store leader. I want to be a retail supplier. That's again, I share is thinking too small. So this is how I evolved. No? So when I wanted to be a store leader, that was 9 years back, and now it's not the same thing.
Okay.
If your passion, follow it.
Yeah, it's the next question is very much related to what you said. What motivates you to do this? Especially each day, each morning when you walk into the store. Where does this motivation comes from?
Wow, it's a tough audience. Okay. I repeat something I shared before. It went very quickly. But if you have time, just Google this word. It's called high performance individual. If you have time, just Google what does it mean. High performance individuals are people who put themselves to standards that nobody needs to tell them that. So I've molded myself to that. I'm not comfortable being comfortable.
Yeah.
This is not me. You won't find me doing that. I will just be out there. 2 years back, I was leaving Decathlon. I was quitting. Now people say, "Why CureFit took you?" Or something. Nobody. I didn't get any people asking me for jobs. I'm not on LinkedIn, so nobody knows who I am. I just was leaving because I was bored. I was so bored. I mean, I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to get out, do something that wakes me up in the night. It's stupid what I'm saying, maybe, that in the night when I'm sleeping, I should be thinking of it. So in the morning, I'm ready to go. And that's why I took this All for Sport project. I'm not a technology guy. I've learned all that I'm still learning. My team still laugh at me when, I do not know many things, but that's okay. That's how you learn, right? If I go to the store today, I can answer many of the solutions, but I wanted to challenge myself. So that's how I want to wake up in the morning. And 2 years back, I didn't want to wake up in the morning.
Right.
So I went up to Jerome's and the Steves and the Ravis of the world and said, dudes, I can't do this. I have to move. And that's when they said, what about this? And I'm like, what about it? Okay, makes sense. I do not know this. So the day you feel bored, the day you feel comfortable, is the day you have to be very careful. Somebody asked me, can you give me an advice? That's my advice to you.
Yeah, I was
If you
about
feel
to ask that.
comfortable,
Yeah.
if you feel comfortable, get ready, because you're going to leave, or you're going to get depressed. So do something that's challenging, do something that's scary.
Yeah.
Be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Sure.
My team hates that word because I keep repeating that. So.
Okay, I think we can take one last question, and with this, we are going to end our conversation. I think we spoke a lot about purpose. Maybe we can really end with this. Your point of view on international projects to move to another country, how do you go about it? And especially when we are talking about the purpose at the same time.
When we talk about purpose, your point of view on international project. Okay, yeah. So good point, Rushabh, if I'm pronouncing it right, or RVJ. So in fact, what was happening is 2 years back, because I got bored, for the lack of a better word, I was looking at an international project to move, maybe challenge myself there, etc. But the more now I think about it, I'm like, why? I mean, the challenges that India has thrown. I mean, I let this sink in, guys, girls. We have 1.3 billion people, right? 5% of the people play sport. So my math is super bad, but I think it's about 60 million plus. Do the calculation. That's another 1.24 billion people. They don't do anything. I mean, as in they don't practice sport. We have a huge opportunity. And somebody asked me that, do I have to become a store leader to grow? Find ways to tap that, and you grow like mad, right? So that's why I stayed back, and I said, let me do this. It's important to inspire Indians, by Indians, for Indians.
Yeah.
I think Michelle had a great thing in 2009. He was saying, you should be embarrassed. He was telling all of us, you should be embarrassed that you're importing from China to sell to Indians. You should make in India to sell to Indians. And I repeat, this is 2009, 11 years ago. Way before Make in India became a slogan, we were like, we want to make it in India, right? And that way the economy grows, the Indians live a better life, etc. So I said, I'll do that. But then there are people who want to test and try new projects. You should. But again, look at the purpose. What is your purpose? What are you doing that for? Is there a personal goal behind it? Fair enough. No problem. Be transparent. Share. This is what I want to do. And look at a person for an international project. But to come back to, I like to say, is change India, one Indian at a time. So this is what Decathlon, by the way, is doing. I strongly believe it. They're changing India, one Indian at a time, by various ways. The way we treat people, the way we do with sports, etc., which has no caste, religion, race, where you're from. We just play. So that's the way I would put it.
All right.
That made sense.
Sure. Thank you, Joben. I think it would be really amazing to end this conversation, asking you, what are your parting words to be a successful leader? The last one. Okay, bye, I'm going.
When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. You want to get your next leader? I'll see you after the COVID crisis, because you will find the best coming out now. The best, the lions, the lionesses, they will come out now. The rest will be just, she going through. This is the way I've done it. All the crises I watch, who's it? Bam, take that person and do it. So when the going gets tough, get going, get moving. Let's do this. Tough year for sure. For most of us, we've all planned many things, but that's the beauty of life, right? Sure. If everything was comfortable, remember what I said, you never grow. Now is a great time to grow. Now is a great time for an Atul to step up, and Ashish to step up, and our VJ to step up. All of them. I can only see all of you, right? Only 4 of you. That's why I'm looking at you. Don't think like, he's not seeing others. I just can't. I can only see 4 of you. So that's what I would say. When the tough gets, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So.
Sure. Amazing. Thank you so much, Joben. I hope the audience is still live with us. Of course, it's not a physical session, but I really would like to hear the, clappings. If we can really do it, what I'm going to do is just like for a few seconds, I'm going to unmute all, okay? We really need this kind of an energy to see where we are, because it's just the end of the session.
Kind of clap, really? Are these claps?
I've just unmuted. Sorry, I've just muted everybody. Thank you so much, Joben, once again, for really being candid, being who you are, and really thank you for being funny. With this audience, really, we are going to stop our conversation. I hope you really enjoyed and you liked it.